things change every day in this field. Let me give you an idea of what's happening with aging and anti-aging and the technology. Every 3 months, what we know about aging doubles. Every 3 months. 3 years from now, we're going to have 6,000 times more information than we have at the moment. So everybody in this room, without a question, is going to be living much longer than they even think. So not only do we need to make sure you get that information to stay healthy and live longer, but also be able to have a job, a passion, to help other people do the same. So with that, I want to ask everybody a couple of questions first. What do you think is your most important asset? Is it your money? Is it your house or your car? No. Your real most important asset is quality time and health. And our job is to give you more of that. What would you do with an extra 10 years of good quality time to do the things you love to do with the people you love? And you have to ask yourself, how much is that worth? Well, the science behind Velovita, the science behind what I'm going to talk about today, already is available to help you do that. And not only you, but everybody you touch or speak to about the products here at Velovita. So let's get started. One of the most important things we have to keep in mind is we've learned so much about what the aging process is really about. And it really all begins in our genes. Now, AM/PM 2.0 is a radical departure from everything else that you've probably learned in your life about vitamins and minerals. It is not a vitamin-mineral product. Now, let me give you a real scientific look at this. Vitamins and minerals have been shown to help your cells work at their normal level. The research has showed do nothing to help you live longer or to improve the quality of what happens to you as you age. So I spent over 20 years looking at how can we take the latest science and actually help that science help you have more quality time and actually improve your health as you get older. And AM/PM is one of the only products, and actually it's the only product in the world that's focused on what we call epigenetics, or if you will, the ability to actually change what genes are turned on as you get older that actually cause age-related diseases. Now, I think just about everybody here would like to avoid the things that happen to us all as we get older. Arthritis, our memory doesn't function so well. We don't have the energy we used to have. AM/PM already has been documented to improve every one of those things we start to experience as we get older. It is the next evolution, what we call cellular nutrition product, that no other company in the world actually has at the moment. One of the interesting things is that I grew up in a family where my father never got out of high school, my mother never got out of high school, but they were always focused on trying to stay healthy. And I watched my dad pass away at a very young age. He was a cigarette smoker. He didn't exercise. He had a very stressful life. Now, each one of those characteristics, everything that we do each day, actually can change the genes that keep us healthy or cause us to age quicker. And the secret was, what could we do from a nutrition point of view to actually start manipulating the genes that get active when we get older, much more like genes that are active when we're young. So AM/PM has been designed to actually have over 70 ingredients that can actually change what genes are active as we age to the genes that were active when we were younger. Now, there's two major, if you will, software programs, but let's talk about this for a second. How many people here have a computer? Just about everybody, right? So what happens to your computer when it gets hit with a virus? First time you get a virus in your computer, you might notice it's not working so well. If you end up getting a virus in your computer a second, third, and fourth time, you're going to notice that your software programs are really not, they're running slow, or maybe they're not doing what they're supposed to do. If that continues, your computer crashes. Now, I want you to remember one thing. We have 50 trillion cells that make up our human body. Each one of those cells is literally analogous to a microcomputer. And instead of getting hit by the viruses that our computers get hit with and deteriorate our computers, our microcomputers, these 50 trillion cells, their software gets damaged, their DNA gets damaged by what we call free radicals. And that's just normal part of the aging process, but it's also basically related to our environment. You know, today's environment, levels of pollution, the poor food quality, nutritional food we eat, the stress in our lives, the lack of the exercise that we don't get because we're all so busy, all end up creating problems in every one of those 50 trillion cells. So the secret was, how can we undo that damage? It's exactly like having an antiviral software program, and that's what clicked in my mind. Our DNA is really genetic software. And so the two major software programs that we have in our body, believe it or not, are a day software program or a genetic program that keeps us focused, helps us think sharply in the morning. We have more energy. We actually can address the day super efficiently. Now, our genes are primed to do that for us when we wake up. In the evening, we have another software program that slowly kicks in. Okay, that gets us ready for sleep. And why is sleep important? It's one of the most important things to help us stay healthier longer and improve the quality of time we have. So not only is it sleep, but in the evening, that software evening program actually is designed to detoxify our cells. That's when cell repair occurs. That's when your skin regenerates. And you're going to see with the new ingredients that we have in AMPM 2.0, your skin gets better. You sleep longer. Your immune system is better. So this is a revolutionary new approach to cellular nutrition. And I run the Regenerative Medicine Institute in San Jose, Costa Rica. Why are we there? Because we can do things there we can't even do in the United States to help people stay healthier longer. And it's all based on stem cells. Two of the major issues that we know of that actually address the aging process are stem cells and DNA. And if we can keep our stem cell numbers and stem cell function up higher than normal, as we age it normally decreases, what we can do, our body cells can be repaired and replaced efficiently, and it maintains our health and it maintains our ability to have the energy and focus we need. So AMPM has another software program built into it that is to keep our stem cells functioning optimally, help them make more copies of themselves. That allows us to maintain our body function more optimally. Another unique component that has been designed into AMPM. The secret here is, what do we do on a daily basis that can really help us maintain the quality of time and our actual function? So the AMPM Essentials 2.0 has a revolutionary new ingredient in it. And it's really not that new, because we spent over 20 years developing this new compound that actually acts like an antiviral program that actually undoes the damage to your DNA, which is basically inside every one of those 50 trillion cells. Now, how important is DNA? In each one of our cells, we have enough DNA, if it was unwound, that would equal about 6 feet. So when the human body laid that DNA down end to end, it would be enough DNA to go to the moon and back again about 3 times. Now that's hard to believe, that's wrapped up in every cell. But that's what AMPM is doing. It's impacting the origin of the aging process. It's impacting the origin of health. So let's take a look at this. We're gonna look at a lifetime right here in about 20 seconds. What you're seeing is changes in our DNA. And when we're young, we have very little damage to that DNA. As we age and we hit about 30, we're gonna start to notice a few wrinkles. A wrinkle is the first sign of the aging process being out of control. We hit our 30s, we're still gonna start to see some lax in skin, our 40s, our 50s, gray here, 60s, 70s. Here's what you're seeing when your DNA is damaged. Now, we can't stop the process at the moment, but we can really slow it down. I hate to mention this, but everybody in this room, virtually everybody, is aging faster than they could, or they should. Genetically, we shouldn't be aging as quickly as we do. Now, in Costa Rica and 5 other places in the world, there's things called blue zones. This is where people live well into their 90s and 100s with no anti-aging medicine, but they have a specific type of lifestyle, a specific type of diet and exercise that actually alters their genes to stay healthier and more youthful. Now, since most of us don't have the opportunity to live in that type of environment, one of the things we can do is use the latest advances in science that are actually part of AM and PM 2.0. And that's what we've done, mimicked with the key ingredients in AM and PM, 70+ ingredients, to actually do the same thing that these people who live longer lives are able to do, alter what genes are active and keep them healthy. It's interesting that I started to talk about DNA as a software, genetic software program, your personal genetic software program. And guess who decided to repeat what I was saying? I started this 9 years ago. And Mr. Bill Gates made an interesting comment just 3 or 4 years ago that DNA is like your computer program, but far more advanced than any software we've ever developed. And if we look at our DNA and our cell like that, and our cells like this, we actually have the keys to reprogram that DNA. So what is epigenetics? It's a fancy word that really just describes what I said. Everything we do every day, whether it's how we exercise, how much stress we have in our lives, the quality of the food we eat, the people we actually communicate with, all of those things change what genes are active or not active inside every one of those 50 trillion cells. And the secret is to understand how to control and turn on the right genes. And AM/PM 2.0 is the most advanced, I will say, cellular nutritional compound anywhere on the planet. So this has been my focus for the last 20 years, being able to, if you will, reprogram cells that are older to act like cells that are younger. I presented this first time that we did this in 2017. We were the first group at Rutgers University to take 80-year-old stem cells and turn them back into 20-year-old stem cells. And we've actually treated a number of human beings in 2017 and 18 who are now in their 90s, who are in amazing health. Now, we did that with cells, young cells and old cells, in a special technique. But today, we have the ability to do things very close to this with the right combinations of nutritional compounds and natural herbal extracts and plant extracts. So your genes and your cells basically have another software program that overlies the other two ones I talked about. And that's your day-night cycle, okay? And one of the most important things is people don't realize if you don't get the right amount of sleep, your body can't repair the damage to your DNA. If you don't, in the morning, and if you don't get the right amount of sleep, your immune system doesn't work. You're predisposed to cancer. You're actually more predisposed to depression and a number of other diseases. For the first time, we have a actual compound or multiple compounds that can literally help you avoid what everybody else is going to be experiencing, that is a loss of the quality of their health, their time, and their function. And these 70 ingredients it's taken me almost 15 years to find the right combinations of these 70 ingredients, along with the special DNA repair compound. And frankly, we actually had to go to the Amazon, and we looked at what compounds that naturally occur in the Amazon rainforest that for decades the natives have been using. And we found one amazing compound, and that's from a vine in the Amazon, where the inner aspect of that vine has this special compound that not only repairs DNA, decreases the total body inflammation, and that we have, and inflammation is related to every age-related disease. It also does a number of other things I'm going to go over with you in just a second, but this new compound that is in both the AM and PM formula is literally the first time we have a compound that can slow and reverse the damage to our genetic software so we stay healthier longer. Now, this occurs not only in our body cells, but our stem cells. And do a quick review here. Our stem cells are what we need to replace our body cells as they get damaged or as we age. And the secret here is keeping your stem cells healthy so they can maintain your organ function, your skin so you don't get wrinkles as early as most people do, and the whole thing here is we have a problem, basically the design of how we were designed genetically and with stem cells. So every one of us are born with a fixed number of stem cells. Now, different people are born with a little bit more stem cells. Some people have a little bit less. But as you take a look at this, you're going to see by the time we're in our an early adult, we used up about 60% of the stem cells we were born with. By the time we were in our 30s, we used up about 75%. By the time we were in our 60s, 65, 70, we maybe have 3 to 5% of those stem cells left. And there's three major types of stem cells. There's stem cells that are responsible for our immune system. Another group that are responsible for maintaining our blood vessels and grow new blood vessels so the blood can deliver nutrients to every organ in our body. And the third type, one of the most important type, are what we call mesenchymal stem cells that can turn into muscle, bone, cartilage, or brain. AMPM has actually been shown at the China University. I'm going to show you a slide in a minute. About 6 or 7 years ago, we did a study and we cultured human stem cells with AM and PM separately. And the results were amazing. I'm going to show you that in a minute. But let's take a look at what happens. Separate products that were able to replicate what AM PM does. People said to me, gee, Dr. G, why do I have to buy that? I can go to the store, GNC, or a nutritional store, and buy each one of these things on its own. Instead of having to buy that product, I can do this. So if you wanted energy, very similar to what AM PM does, you'd have to buy Red Bull. That would cost you about $120 a month. If you wanted to sleep better, the top sleep product out there right now is Relaxium. That's about $25. And you wanted a really good antioxidant supplement, it's about $80 a month for the best. Memory and recall products range anywhere from $40 to $70. And if we looked at anti-anxiety, natural supplements are $80 a month for the top. We looked at all of this, immune support tablets, about $45 a month. If you wanted to replicate this, it would cost you anywhere from $420 up to $1,200 a month for the compounds that are similar to, but not even as effective, are what's in AMPM. So when you look at AMPM, you're looking at 20 years worth of science, but you're also looking at a system that gives you not only what you need to do every one of these things and not have to buy those separately, but frankly, you couldn't swallow all those tablets if you had to. So what's the experience? Let's take a look. We looked at 300 patients, 300 people who took AMPM. First, we looked at what happened to them after 8 weeks. And if you take a look at this slide, you're going to see their energy improved 65%. Their sleep improved 88%. Focus improved by about 65%. How often they got sick? About 50% less often they got sick. And also their stress levels, their anxiety levels improved by 62%. If I could produce a medicine, an actual pharmaceutical medicine with this, it would be one of the best sellers in the world. And this is a natural compound that does all of these things for people. Now at 8 weeks, we saw not only this, we saw better improvements. Let me stop this for a second. We actually saw that people who took AMPM 2.0 literally had those results, and we'll go back once more. But at 12 weeks, those even improved further. So at 12 weeks, people seem to plateau out based on how they start, where they start with their health, but they will experience, every one of you will experience improvements in every one of those categories using a natural compound that literally is turning your genes back into a more youthful mode. So let's take a look at stem cells. I'm going to show you what happens at age 40. Here's age 40. All three of those key types of stem cells we talked about, immune function stem cells that allow your blood vessels to stay healthy, stem cells that allow your tissues to regenerate, your heart, your liver, your kidneys, and your skin. At 40, those stem cells start to decrease dramatically. So what happens here, 40 is when we start to see our first wrinkle. Now, look at this. This is age 50. What happens at age 50 is we notice our memory isn't so great. Our arthritis, we start to get pain in our joints. We start to notice our body composition changes. We're not building as much muscle. And frankly, we lose our libido. We start not to be interested in some of the things that kept us healthy and happy. And as we continue, I'm going to show you what happens. Not only, if you look at that bottom line, okay, that light green line, our bodies start to make what we call senescent cells, or cells that accelerate the aging process. They're called zombie cells because they produce tons of inflammation. Now, AC11 is one of the few compounds that actually removes senescent cells. It ruptures them. So that also helps to slow the aging process down. What happens is at about age 60, we're down to 4 to 5% of our stem cells. So that means as our body cells are getting damaged, they can't get repaired. That means our genetic software now is almost ready to crash. So if anybody here is over 60, don't worry, here's the good news. Every 3 months, your body turns over most of its DNA, which means you have new DNA every 3 months. If you're on the right compounds like that are in AM/PM, and if you're on the right compounds that can repair the damage to your DNA, you get to start all over every 3 months, which means instead of progressing, instead of that genetic software continuing to get damaged and going to crash in each one of your cells, you start all over every 3 months. Now, this is really an important thing to keep in mind. It's never too late to start. I don't care if you're 70 or you're 80. This product will make a difference no matter how old you are. Now, how many people here had the original AM/PM formula? And how many people, I want to know how many people definitely felt a difference in their energy, their sleep. So I'm seeing most of the hands that have been using this. You're going to find AM/PM 2.0 is going to take you to another level. You're going to say, you don't believe it. And I'll tell you, the real proof of the pudding is, if you stop taking AM/PM after you've taken it for a month or two, you're going to notice a dramatic difference in how you feel. And that's, to me, one of the most important things people have told me is, when I've accidentally didn't get my AM/PM on time, and for like 2 or 3 weeks I didn't take it, I couldn't believe the difference. See, you forget how good you feel when you're on this on a regular basis. But AM/PM 2.0 is going to take you, every one of you, to another whole level of quality, health, wellness, energy, sleep, and all the things you need to really, really improve the quality of your life. Now, what happened to us in the last decade, 2 or 3, actually it's probably the last 3 decades, is the food we eat does not have the nutritional value it used to have. We have pesticides, we have all these artificial chemicals now being put into food to keep it looking better or to keep it fresher quicker. All of those things rob us of the nutritional value that food did for us. So what we did is source these compounds, these extracts, from food that has not been altered or grown in poor soil or with genetic modifications. You're getting, each one of these ingredients literally impact the human cell and your DNA in a different way, but in a very positive way. And together, they create what you're going to experience when you try AM/PM 2.0. If we were to look at AM/PM, again, compared to a multivitamin, multivitamins have no DNA repair potential, 0. Your generic multivitamins, no. If you look at buying certain ingredients or certain separate ingredients, there's virtually no other ingredient that does what AC11 does. If you start to look at a proven patent, in other words, ingredient counts, AM/PM 2.0 has over 70 natural compounds, and as well as your basic vitamins and minerals. You look at general multivitamins, maybe 20 to 25. You look at buying ingredients separately, 70 of those ingredients. You cannot swallow all those tablets. It's impossible. You take a look at stem cell activation compounds. Okay, we're the only compound that documents in actual studies with human cells that actually turns on the genes that help stem cells make more copies of themselves and actually get activated. There's nothing else that does that. When we take a look at anti-inflammatory compounds, okay, AM/PM is one of the few things that actually stops the inflammation formation inside every one of those 50 trillion cells. And it has a special compound that actually inhibits what we call NF-kappa beta, which is the origin of inflammation we all get. You can't find that in any other single compounds anywhere in the marketplace. Okay, let's take a look at sleep optimization. AM/PM has about 6 key ingredients that help induce sleep. Now you can buy a generic multivitamin with melatonin or 1 or 2 other ingredients. You can't find something that stacks the key things that really help give you more sleep, but deep sleep and REM sleep, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. We'll go down to energy. We'll go down to the manufacturing process. Okay, everybody talks about, well, I have a capsule or tablet. Do you know when we make AM/PM 2.0, and we have to compress 70 ingredients into a capsule, it creates, most places where they're manufactured tablets, it creates heat. That heat literally destroys a lot of the nutritional value from the actual extracts we have. So when we first started to produce this 20 years ago, we had a way of cooling the machines so we didn't denature or ruin the nutritional value. We also had a way of coating the tablets. Now, you people probably don't know this, but you don't want your tablets to dissolve in your stomach because the acidity in your stomach will also ruin a lot of the peptides and proteins. AMPM has a coating that resists gastric acid but opens up in your small intestine so you absorb much more of the nutritional value. And again, I can go through this whole thing, but the bottom line is, if you want to replicate what AMPM has, it'll cost you a minimum of $140, up to $1,200, depending upon what brand you do. So I just want to tell you, Velovita has the most effective cellular nutrition product there is anywhere in the world. And I can tell you this, 4 weeks on this product, you're going to feel amazing. 8 and 12 weeks later, you're not going to believe how good you feel. Okay, so why it matters. Your DNA is basically your passport to staying healthier longer and repairing and regenerating your body as we age. Who's in charge of this is you. The secret here is, in AMPM, we also have probiotics. And we have digestive enzymes, amylase, protease, lipases. So the foods you eat, you're even going to get more nutritional value out of because you're taking AMPM 2.0. This is what everybody else in the world is doing. They're selling you capsules and tablets. If you were to try to take what's in AMPM 2.0, you'd have to swallow 70 capsules a day. Now, it's virtually impossible. But more importantly, you probably are not going to get by any means the right combinations of what you need to turn your genes back on to a more youthful mode. So we are already the future. AMPM 2.0 is the future today. So who should be taking AMPM? Well, frankly, most of the people who are in college and teenagers even, today they eat fast food. They don't get the nutrition they need. They don't sleep optimally. And they're saying, well, gee, I don't really need a vitamin mineral supplement. No, they don't. They need a lot more than a vitamin mineral supplement. So if you have young teenagers, these are the people who should probably be on this from that age onward because they won't be accumulating the damage that occurs normally to people who don't have the right nutrition to feed each one of those cells. So in your 20s and 30s, your body is still in really good shape and it can actually buffer a lot of that damage. But once you hit your 40s and 50s, your ability literally to restore your DNA, to keep your cells healthy, starts to drop off dramatically. You hit your 60s, you're really in need because here you've suffered a lot of damage. Just like your computer would have been hit by multiple other viral attacks, this is where 50s and 60s is where the aging process rapidly accelerates. What's the main purpose of the AM formula? Well, genetically, our bodies are designed for energy, focus, and actually certain specific hormones like DHEA, pregnenolone. These hormones are actually normally high in the morning to help us really have a productive day. AMPM has been focused to help restore that component to our morning. So there's compounds in here that boost your energy, make more ATP, in a little organ inside your cell called the mitochondria. Telomeres are the key things that help let your cells make more copies of themselves. There's ingredients to help with that. Obviously, there's certain antioxidants to help limit the damage that free radicals cause that we all produce. And then we have other things that actually target, for instance, your immune function. So let's take a look at PM. So the PM formula now has slightly different ingredients. There's probably 8 different ingredients. And in 2.0, the PM formula has been augmented to give you more sleep and deep sleep. And deep sleep is where your body actually repairs its cells. It's where your skin turns over quicker, so you actually have healthier looking skin. And the big thing here is detoxification. That means the products of the normal cells trying to stay alive and function, they produce, if you will, kind of like exhaust from a car. If you don't get enough sleep, you can't detoxify, particularly your brain. And what happens is you're going to start losing your ability to focus and memory and recall. So AMPM has been designed to do that. Make a big difference in the quality of your REM sleep, your deep sleep. And the most important thing we need to keep in mind is DNA repair. That is, the ability for us to repair our genetic software occurs when we're at sleep. Growth hormone actually is one of the key things that AM/PM has actually been shown to help increase growth hormone, which is where cell repair occurs. So let's take a look at how do you take it, okay? So right now, if you're a person who weighs from anywhere from 100 to 150, 160 pounds, 2 tablets in the morning with a cup of tea or coffee prior to eating your breakfast, if you take it then and even walk for 10 or 15 minutes before you have your actual breakfast, you're going to set up your calorie burn rate much higher. You're going to lose weight because you're going to, those ingredients in AM are literally going to turn on your calorie burning mechanisms. Now, in the evening, you want to take 2 PMs, okay, because you want to take those about an hour and a half to 2 hours after you eat. Because the last thing you want to do is take them with dinner, and you're going to notice 20 minutes later, you're going to get very tired, and you don't want to end up having your head fall into your dish of your food, because literally it will make AM/PM 2.0 now will induce your sleep so much more efficiently. But here's what most people don't realize. If you're 175, 200 pounds, you may want to take 3 AM/PMs in the morning and 3 at night. Or if you notice you need a little more energy in midday, I always take an extra 2 AMs with my lunch or right after lunch. And I go through the whole day with not having that dip in energy. So the secret with AM/PM 2.0 is you can adjust this based upon how you feel, how your body changes, and everybody's different. So you have a way of literally personalizing your energy, your focus, and your sleep based upon your weight, your age, and how your body responds. In summary, what are we looking at? This is not, I'm going to repeat this, everybody, for years and years, people at Juness were thinking AM/PM is a vitamin mineral supplement. It is not a vitamin mineral supplement. It is a revolutionary new approach to keep your genetics, your genetic software, your cells, and your health in a much better state than you could with vitamins and minerals alone. So what else of the products that we have at Velovita can actually make AM/PM work even better? So one of the things that happens to all of us as we age is we don't make a key compound that every cell in our body needs called ATP. Now ATP is the energy source not only for our cells, but without the right ATP, our DNA can't function optimally, and we also feel tired, and we don't have the energy to do things we normally like to do. Life NMN is another product that took me about 3 years to put together that not only makes more ATP and NAD, but literally supplies the fuel for every one of the 50 trillion cells in our body. You combine that together with AM/PM 2.0, you're going to notice another whole level of wellness, health, and energy. So this is the other product that I strongly recommend you use with AM/PM 2.0. So here we go. AM/PM, this is just a summary of some of the ingredients that actually impact with each one of the key processes the cell does. And these are focused on making energy and giving you more mental focus and improving your memory. Now the PM ingredients are certain botanicals, things that help with inducing sleep, maintaining sleep longer. DNA repair actually occurs in both the AM and PM formula, stem cell activation, and things that help with probiotics and prebiotics to help you get actually more nutritional value out of the food you eat. This is the China study that was done about 5 years ago for the first time that documented this product actually causes stem cells to divide more efficiently and turn into other key cells and organs. We then went ahead and we actually did 35 peer-reviewed publications that document that AC11 is one of the only natural compounds that repairs your DNA, drops your inflammation, and actually does a host of other things. So this is not about telling you things that are not true. This is about, frankly, supplying the science backed by multiple publications for both stem cells and cellular aging processes. This is just another reminder that the clinical studies we did in China actually documented that these key genes, SIRT1, NANOG, ECAT, all associated with longevity, are actually activated by AM/PM. What is this? What is the latest trend in the science that we do at our institute in San Jose? We do everything we can to augment your ability inside each one of your cells to maintain your genes and your genetics in optimal shape. AMPM is not a vitamin mineral compound. It includes all your basic vitamins, minerals, but it's the next evolutionary step. It's a cellular nutrition product that augments both your stem cell and body cells function, that helps protect, just like an antiviral computer program in your computer, helps protect your genetic software to stay more youthful and work more optimally. There's nothing else like this. When I talk about your DNA as your genetic software, who's the programmer? Well, guess what? Every one of you are the programmers of your own DNA, your own genetic software. And the secret here is AMPM 2.0 is the most effective product there is anywhere in the world. I don't care how old you are or when you start, you're going to notice an amazing improvement in the quality of your health, your energy, your sleep, your mental focus, and literally change your life. So if you want to go ahead and try to replicate this, you go ahead and you can spend $420 up to $1,200. And the bottom line is this, the following. This is the science that supports everything I've said, and these papers are available right now for anybody who wants through the company. Again, I wanted to talk briefly about how important sleep is. If you don't get enough sleep, you're going to notice that you open yourself up to multiple diseases, cognitive decline, even breast cancer. Next to the last slide here is take the first step. Take this product that will literally transform your lives. This is what Velovita is about, the latest science in general about aging. And again, this is just another copy of how people have improved in their energy, their sleep, their mental focus, wellness, and their stress levels. This is Mick Jagger. This is the last slide. He's in his 80s now. Everybody would think he has abused his life. He's done drugs. He's done alcohol. He's been drinking for years. About 4 or 5 years ago, people don't know this, he completely changed his lifestyle. Lifestyle changes your genes. He's still doing what he was doing when he was in his 20s and 30s. It's all about using his genes and actually literally turning back the genes that were active when he was young. And I can't tell you what he's taking, but he's taking something very, very similar to AMPM 2.0. And this is where we all want to be when we're 80s and our 90s. We want to enjoy life, and we want to basically maintain our most important assets that we have. It's not money, it's not a car, it's not a house, it's quality time, improved health, to spend time with the people you love and do the things you love to do. Thank you.